My name is CHIMAOGE. Thank you to my returning viewers. Greetings extra to the new people. Welcome to CHIMAOGE's comments. Once again, good evening. This is the segment The Greatest Man Alive, aka Kalu Akanu. You can also call it Agwo, the Adder. Yes. I'm talking about, and not exhaustively, but I'm talking about a little bit the debate surrounding the Cheesecake Factory. Let's go. I'm gonna be seated. I'm gonna try doing the whole live stream seated. And this segment, the dictates of it from now on is that I'll be on here for at least 20 minutes. So, I'm going to at least the 20-minute mark. Thank you once again to my returning viewers. For the new people, let me give you 2 extra pieces of information to help you understand me better. First, I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia. And second, I am 28 years old. And that's all I'll say. Agwo. Here's my name information. My given name is CHIMAOGE. My government name is CHIMAOGE Aka. I have an alternate white structured name due to family complication. That is CHIMAOGE Aka. And then my foremost nickname is Moge. CHIMAOGE is a longer form of Moge. Okay. Anyone can call me either CHIMAOGE or Moge or both. Anyway, that's just my decision. Also makes sense metaphysically. And then I publish music under the name Nkworie. 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 Consider that my being name. I don't associate it with myself that deeply, but it's there. Everyone has many names. Got to get rid of this one name culture, and at the same time get rid of this 10 government name culture. You have a government name that's so long, you got a first name, you got 5 middle names, you got a last name. The whole thing is not your name. Most of those words are not your name. And then maybe you go by a nickname. Not good. Anyway. Anyway, let me share the live stream. All right, have a like. Thank you. Every like is a blessing. Obviously, I've registered viewers as well, although it hasn't, the system hasn't fully shown them. Let me wait until they're shown to fully congratulate them. Abu Magwiye. Anemegwiye. I see the registered viewers. 3 on the screen right now. Thank you very much. Every viewer is a blessing. Every view is a blessing. Every comment is a blessing. I read comments at my discretion. Abu Magwiye. Abu Magwiye. Abu Magwiye. Abu Magwiye. Obama Yang. Obama Yang. Obama Yang. Kabrunam. Naga Abu Maga Amadio Nime Uwa Abu Mamadio He Ha Abu Mamadio Ba Ba Ba. Boo! Brr brr bebe. Brr brr bebe. Abum brr brr bebe. Abum brr brr bebe. Abum brr brr. On mi hanu wa bumebre. On mi hanu wa bumebre. Oh, okay. The Cheesecake Factory. This is Kala Akanu. Let me just call him Kala. Let me just talk in a very common and lazy way. I don't know too much about the Cheesecake Factory. Let me be a little mean. A lot of people think, and let me just be very mean. People have this concept of American. People think, they have this idea of something called an American. The American's name is Bill. They're white, and or, they just have some other combination that white people told you should exist here. Then, I don't know. They drink beer and eat hamburgers all day. I don't know. Let me tell you something, my friends. Washington is not even a common name. Look, people ask me all the time, where are you from? And then I just tell the story of my existence. There's nothing. Born in Washington, D.C. Parents from West Africa. Abruneme Bam. Grew up in the surrounding area. Currently live in Atlanta. I mean, this concept of someone being from somewhere is very lazy. Even plants are not from somewhere. You put a seed in the ground, it sprouts up. That thing has a lineage too now. Anyway, I'm just giving that very mean disclaimer to say, when I say I don't know much about the Cheesecake Factory, it's not because I just got off the plane, okay? It's because I just have almost never been there. I'm not sure if I've ever been to the Cheesecake Factory. And to be honest, and again, I know that's somebody's business. This is no disrespect to them, but we're allowed to not like someone's business and or not care about it too much. Okay, they should function, they should do well, all right? I hope they do well. And of course, I hope they behave ethically, which is part of the debate here. But anyway, you see, I figured it out recently. Cheese is an herb to me. This is what I mean by that. Every day I should have like a couple cubes of cheese, but it's not a thing of pleasure. Let me move. Anyway, what am I saying here? Obviously, you can eat too much cheese. So a lot of cheese is not tasty. It makes me sick, but I need some of that herb. Anyway, it just helps me, just say it helps with my overall health. It's a good source of, fat. Like, you need some fat in your body now. This whole movement of zero fat is not good. At the same time, we have people with too much fat. So, a lot of people are out of whack. It's a major health issue. But anyway, you can obviously eat too much cheese. So the concept of cheesecake has never sit well with me. You're gonna put so much cheese together that it's a cake, and or you filled out your cake with cheese. There's a lot of issues for me there. First of all, it's like you're mixing sugar with like tanginess. I generally don't like that. And then just opportunity cost. Why didn't you make me a chocolate cake? Why didn't you make me a vanilla cake? So someone said I got the Cheesecake Factory. I ran away. Bill the American's getting very scared. He just found out his grandpa was an immigrant. Reminder, everyone, Donald Trump's mother is from Scotland. Anyway, Why am I joning on that false concept of America? And again, America doesn't really exist. Another way of saying it is that we should stop operating as if those lines on a map are real and denote some sort of supremacy. It does not. Anyway, it's not good. But the reason I'm joning on that concept of America is because it's central to this Cheesecake Factory debate I'm seeing. Now, I'm not going to say everything. I've seen a lot. But basically, the debate centered upon the nature, from what I've seen, of the Cheesecake Factory's menu. And again, many people have weighed in. Again, I've never seen their menu. Many people have weighed in. And the one aspect of it I want to comment on is people basically defending the nature of its menu as is. Again, I haven't seen the menu, but based upon what I've heard of the restaurant and the name, I'm sure it feeds into this trend we have in America. And again, America sets the tone for the globe due to a combination of the nature of Elu, the extreme, the region it's in, and white supremacy. Okay, that's a complicated topic. And I'm just gonna say this. Just because a place sets the tone for the world doesn't mean that everyone should follow the tone exactly. I think naturally, you know, and this is why it's kind of a flag on the play, because people don't travel enough, and at the same time, they don't sit enough. So because of that, they don't understand that they are not the place they're standing. And I'm just going to leave that there. But I think, ooh, I just saw 11:11. Let's make a wish. Let's all be healthy. That's my wish. But anyway, I think that, you know, naturally, this part of the world, North America and other places, again, Elu, I'm thinking about it, the extreme, okay? Each of the things that undergird existence, you know, manifests physically in the globe. So Elu, to my understanding, includes North America, but also places like most of Asia, Europe, things like that. There are even some parts of the African continent that are Elu, okay? Australia is part of Elu. Antarctica is part of Elu, okay? Those are the extremes of the globe. Think of it like that. Anyway, relatively, I think naturally this place is conducive to someone setting the tone. So people who spend more time here tend to set the tone for the globe more than anyone else, generally speaking. But there are a lot of exceptions to that. And I think naturally there are other places that should go, okay, that's the tone you're setting. We don't really want to do that. And that interplay is leadership, because there are different types of leaders. There are leaders who set the tone, and there are leaders who break the tone. That's normal. Anyway, but due to white supremacy, I think certain people want the only type of leadership to be setting the tone, and then they want to go further than that and do stuff that shouldn't exist and force everyone to do stuff in small spaces. Anyway, in America, there's this trend of improper food portioning and improper food combining. And then that's exacerbated by what I will just cautiously call slight, giving people stuff we shouldn't eat at all. Let me move. So, in America, people love bread. And then people love bread so much they don't understand what bread is. What is bread? Bread is a food form, but bread is made out of other stuff. You can make bread out of a lot of things. So then there's this trend of making bread out of refined wheat, which is widely known to not be healthy if overeaten. And I'll say that because I'm not a proponent of the idea that certain things should never be eaten. I think it's okay to sometimes eat refined wheat. It's just it shouldn't be overeaten. But there's this trend of doing what I'll call, and sometimes I have to leave English. So, you know, people love their bread, and their bread made out of over refined grains, for lack of a better term, right? White starch. And then on top of that, they overlove cheese. I've already talked about it. It's about portioning. And then the sugar crisis. So I'm going to be a little less mean now. You all know where I'm going. Based on what I know of the Cheesecake Factory, they feed into all these problems. So obviously the menu can be refined, but more than that, we have a culture in America of forcing people to do small things in a very specific way. Restaurants tend to dictate both how someone eats and how much someone eats, instead of just opening up a space, providing food, and letting someone do what they want. This needs to change. People should be able to go to a wet restaurant, choose whether or not they sit or stand, choose whether or not they stay in one place or move, because that's a big part of the eating experience. We know it's bad to be seated for a long time. So why are you sitting down for 2 hours and imbibing all that bread? Not good. And then on top of that, really, the way things are doled out, I'm just going to say this cautiously. Maybe we should look at the concept of a menu, at least for food, and I'll leave it at that. Because instead of just saying this is the food we have, and then having the person pick their quantity, you've already preset what kind of quantities they can have. That could be either too small or too big. So the person could undereat, which is a problem. Sometimes you go to a restaurant because of some social pressure. You want to get food while you're there. You end up sitting down. Maybe you're with some jerks. You don't eat as much as you want. So you've been seated and you haven't eaten anything. Or all of the meals at the restaurant are so large that you overeat. I'm just going to say this. Me personally, I need a lot of calories throughout the day, but I'm not the guy who's a fan of eating 1,000 calories in one sitting. Most restaurants that are relatively cheap in the US have meals that are over 1,000 calories. That's just too much. And then the combinations are off. So what am I saying here? I'm a little confused by all the videos I've seen with people defending the Cheesecake Factory as if it's their family. The Cheesecake Factory's menu is not your family. Again, I'm not saying I completely agree with the counterpoints and counter threads I've seen. Side note, America has a gang culture. Okay, people like to talk about certain segments of the population, in particular, quote unquote, black people, poor black people. And I just say quote unquote because to some extent, people make things up. You know, I'm convinced by how people talk. Sometimes people see white people fight and then report black people did something. But anyway, America has a big gang culture, and it comes out even in small things. So intellectual debates become a fodder for gang warfare. All of a sudden, the people who said the same sentence as you are your gang. And now I mean, yeah, so people squatted up, you know, they formed sets, and now they're arguing about the Cheesecake Factory's menu. And I'm just addressing the gang, the set, the crew, whatever, that's defending the menu like that. And again, once again, I wish no particular malice on the Cheesecake Factory, even though I have my qualms with the name, but whatever. You know, not everything's supposed to be me. Not everything's supposed to be for me, rather, but same thing. And I'm sure I could go into the Cheesecake Factory. Well, let me not say that. I'll just say I haven't really been there and I haven't seen their menu. But, you know, I'm sure they're not doing everything wrong. at the same time they can improve. So, especially with the amount of serious things going on in the world today, for people to make video after video or long videos talking about, how much they love the Cheesecake Factory's menu, and then the amount of energy they put into it, I think is disproportionate. We just have a food crisis in the world today, and the way it manifests in the West is that people have a lot of food in theory, but in practice, either they don't really have access to it, or when they get the food, it's the wrong food and it's the wrong combination, and it's served to them in the wrong way, and they're told to eat it in the wrong way at the wrong time. So it's just all off. So if someone or a group of people makes an observation about how, a restaurant's menu could be better or whatever, that's just not really something to wake up too much for. I just think, I'm not a fan of video games, but, just to be very crude, if you need to get out gang energy, do it playing one of them video games. Don't do it just talking about things like this. I'm gone. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much. Please like, share, and subscribe. Patronize the business as well. I mean, we've been talking about food, as I've said before. I haven't had very much food the past couple of days because, again, I've had my money dip again. I hope there's no... I'll just say it like this. I hope there's no crude conservatives here. I've been very critical of Republicans and conservatives, but I have many ways of speaking. So I know there are some people out there with the label Republican for whatever reason who are not as crude as what I'm criticizing. So I hope you understand me. But the flagship opinion of the Republican Party and related movements is very crude. If you don't have money, it's your fault or whatever. And of course, my relatives who should be helping me are a bunch of bootleg Republicans. Anyway, let me move. So anyway, as I've been saying, due to the nonsense I've been subjected to, I have a dip in money again. I haven't had food, so please help me eat. To do that most quickly, you can donate, and that's just based about funds availability. Again, I'm not saying my other sources of income are bad. It's just funds availability from donation tends to be fastest. So you can donate using Buy Me a Coffee, PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. And I also have a GoFundMe out. But then if you also want to buy something and get something tangible for yourself quickly, the best way to do that is to buy my art in my Patreon shops. Check them out. I have stuff at various prices. Everything's reasonably priced, but I have stuff at various prices. So check it out. You can buy art there. You can also subscribe at various tiers. You get various benefits. The highest tiers, you get merchandise. And then I also have separate merchandise stores, I should say, powered through Streamlabs. Shout out to Streamlabs, so you can buy stuff there. So yeah, various ways to help. Anyway, Akanu. I think I'm going to begin some work here, but I'm done with the main part of this. But you get what I'm saying. People are doing too much defending the Cheesecake Factory, and I'm gone. Abumamadio, he hey ha. Abumama, madama, abumamadio, abumabere, gazeno, one see and no one, abumabere, call. Abumabere, shachano, monachi, and no one, madama, abumama, madamadio, ha. He hey ha, abumamadio, caronio, put a new wa. Who say buru I do, who say buru I coo, who say buru I kike kako katu. Abumamadio, ha. Amarama, Bumama, Maramadio, Bumabere, Kazana, one is the Henua, Manama, Bumamadio, hey, ha, Bumamadio, Caronio, Punanua. He hey ha, he hey ha, he ate her up, he ate her up, he ate, then she ate, then we ate her up, Bumamadio, Hakara, Cheese Factory. Abu Makazo Madioha, Abu Mazo Madioha, Abu Mazo Amadioha, Amaramoa. Abu Mama Marama. Bah! Abundam Baba! Kalakana! Abumi Kanga Kalakana! Abumi Kanga Nana Mana! Abumi Kanga Kalakana! Abumi Kanga Nana Mana! Abumi Kanga Kalakana! Abumi Kanga Nana Mana!